Your neighbor, say, but if you pull my string, you're going to find out how much word I got in me. So I had a witness up in here tonight. Devil messing with your money, you didn't pull the wrong string. My God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. You messing with my mind, you didn't pull the wrong string. Thou will keep me in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed. Hey, hey, hey. We are kept by faith, ready to be revealed, ready to be revealed, ready to be revealed. But he says, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold trials, different kinds of trials, that the trial of your faith is more precious than gold that perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise, glory, and honor unto Jesus Christ. Here it is, that God intentionally tests your faith to bring integrity to your testimony. God, by his sovereignty, he does whatever he wants to do, to whom he wants to do it, how he wants to do it, where he wants to do it, and he doesn't owe anybody an explanation as to why he does what he does. He's just God like that. And God navigates your life through a series of events he knows you would never volunteer for. That's why he didn't ask you. But he will take you through some things. He takes you through these things for a reason. He takes you through them in order to bring validity and credibility. And he takes you through these things to authenticate your testimony, because you don't have any validity or substance to your testimony unless you have been through what you telling other folk they can make it through. How you gonna tell me to hold on with no money in my pocket if you've always had a silver spoon in your mouth? How you gonna tell me, oh, it's just minor surgery, if you ain't never been through what I'm going through? And so when you walk through the annals of biblical antiquity, you see the great cloud of witnesses. You begin to realize that what gives credibility to their testimony is that they have gone through what they're telling us we can make it through. And what Peter declares is that the trying of your faith is necessary to bring integrity to your testimony. Because listen, people of God, when God takes you through the fire, he likens it unto being tried by fire like gold. You know the way you can tell the difference between real gold and fake gold? It all looks the same. If somebody has it on, it looks the same. But if you ever get caught in a storm, when a storm hits fake gold, it starts turning colors. And the reason why it turns colors, because it didn't stay in the heat like real gold. A lot of folks shouting up in here, a lot of folk looking like they the real deal. But if you want to know who the real saints are, you watch them go through a storm. There is something amazing in this about going through the heat, something amazing. I just want to testify. Some of you meeting me for the first time, but my testimony, see, because you got to know, when you see people, you have to understand, people just don't show up. They got a story. You've been through the fire, see. I was a little boy, and I watched I'm gonna bless you, because there's something in you, and God wants to see it elevate. He wants to see it come to fruition. I was a little boy. My grandmother had an oven with a little window in it. And you know that oven with the little window in it? And she would make cake. And we'd be so anxious. We want to open the oven up. But the oven was an environment, pressured environment of heat, so that was in the cake would rise. We'd want to take the cake out before the process was complete. But grandmother said, baby, you can look, but don't touch. Because if you take it out, what's in it can't come. I'm trying to help somebody. And that's why I don't always try to ask God to deliver people out of stuff He's developing them in. Sometimes you got to stay in there. And God is just peeping through the window, just waiting to see how you gonna rise through the fire. I'm gonna help somebody up in here tonight. Other folk looking at you who don't even like you, but they looking to the window trying to see, are you gonna rise? Touch your neighbor and say, I'm coming out through this. Tell them I'm going through another level through this. Just want to testify. The year 2003, I sat in the doctor's office with my wife. I sat in the doctor's office with my wife, and my wife had a biopsy. We were told by the doctor that when he came out, she was still under. The doctor came, looked at me and said, Pastor, your wife has a rare form of neuroendocrine pancreatic cancer. I said, are you kidding me? He said, yeah. He said, it doesn't look well, Pastor. We're going to do the best we can to fight, but there's a 5-year survival rate of less than 10%. I said, kidding me? 30s. My wife was, that time, we were in our 30s. Our church at that time was 20,000 people. God was blessing us and just doing great things. And man, and when she came to, I had to tell her what was going on. And here I was now going through this whole paradox now, going through the fire, preaching to God's people, then going home to the fire. Nobody knew what I was dealing with. Sometimes coming to preach on 30 minutes of sleep because I've been up all night watching her, giving her morphine and watching her deteriorate and watching other people get healed in service. And it wasn't happening for me at home. And here I was, Sunday morning, January 17th, 2005, 37 years old. Went to the hospital that Sunday morning, as I always would when she was in. And I would go and pray for her, and the nurse told me, stay, don't leave today, don't leave today. And at 11 o'clock on that Sunday morning, she went home to be with the Lord. And I stood there and cried and went to the window and said, Lord, why is this happening to me? Lord, what's this about? And then the devil came, because when the devil gets you in isolation, he starts interrogation. And the devil said, what you gonna preach now, preacher? You've been around here talking about God's a healer, God can make a way. What you gonna tell God's people now? And I was crying and I was broken, but I said, wait a minute now, devil. I may be wounded, but I ain't no fool. I know who my God is, and I know I'm hurting, but I declared on that day, I looked right at the devil and I declared, the Lord gave and the Lord has taken away, but I'll still bless his hand. Just talking about in the fire. Buried my wife in January of 2005, 3 years, man. I was just a single pastor out there. Your pastor and so many others were just so encouraging to me, just trying to find myself, get myself back. And I built a new home in 2008, and I'd gone out of the country. And I really hadn't even been in the home but a couple of weeks. And I was out of the country. I came back in, and as soon as my plane hit Miami, Florida, my phone rang. It was my neighbor saying, your house is on fire. I said, what? Yeah, your house is on fire. I'm talking about the fire now. And I said, what are you talking about? There was a lightning storm in Nashville. Out of all the houses in Nashville to get hit by lightning, it was my house. Here I was literally on a Saturday coming back to my church, didn't have nowhere to stay. They put me up in a hotel. I had to get socks from Walgreens across the street from one of my locations, and my armor bearers and my deacons, and they were just praying and worried about me. And I was in my office, and here comes the devil again saying, what you gonna do now, preacher? That wasn't even me. That was an act of God. What you gonna say this morning? I pulled myself together and told the devil, look, I tried to send you back to hell 3 years ago, but let me send you good for now. I said, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. You see, we got some people up in here today who understand that when you go through the fire, you coming out not as a testimony, but you coming out with a real testimony. Because when you've been through, when you've been dog dragged down so broke you didn't know where your next dime was coming from, when you had to scrape change out of the couch to catch the bus, when you didn't know how you were going to make it and you were so sick, you will move from testifying to showing up testifying, because God will take you through a test, and God will take you through that test, and he will leave you there until you almost break. You'll pray and you cry, but God will leave you there. You prayed and you cried, but God leaves you there. The question is, why doesn't God bring me out when I want to come out? Can I tell you why God doesn't do that? Because God knows you would suffer from anthropomorphic arrogance. God knows that if he brought you out when you wanted to come out, your nose would be so big that you would come into church with your nose so wide open that if it rained you would drown. Talking about, look what I did, look what I did. So God leaves you in the test until your money can't buy you out, until your degree can't think you out, until your friends can't bail you out, so that when you do come out, you'll say it wasn't my money, it wasn't my family, it wasn't my friends, but it was nobody but. Look at your neighbor and say, I thank God for the test. I thank you for my mountains. I thank you for my valleys. I thank you for the storms you brought me through. If I never had a problem, I wouldn't know what faith in your word could do. But through it all, I've learned how to lean and depend on you. I've had good days, bad days, hills to climb. But when I look around, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. I won't come. But has God been good to anybody up in here that tell somebody, hold on to your joy? Listen, that's one more thing and I'm out of here. That's one more thing and I'm out of here. Peter says something that captivated me. I'm done. It's captivated me. You know, he said, whom we have not seen, we love. Though now we see him not, we still believe. We rejoice with joy unspeakable or inexpressible and full of glory. I've never, even though we can't see God, God's got some indicators of his presence. That when we make contact with those indicators, our joy becomes inexpressible. I've never seen the wind, but the leaves are testifying. I've never seen the gas in my automobile, but I got an indicator that lets me know the gas is right there. And when you've had your own set of experiences apart from proselytization and apart from being catechized by some denominational affiliation, I'm talking about when you've had your own set of experiences with God that you don't need nobody else to tell you who God is. You have gone through enough stuff for yourself that you know God is a tuition payer, gas in your car, food on your table. I'm telling you, you know what God did for you. Your joy will translate itself into noise. Peter says it's unspeakable. David said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye land. Some people have a fundamental problem with noise. I don't know where you're going. If you live on any street in Houston, there's some noise coming up and down your street. If you die die and go to hell, that's going to be gnashing of teeth, noise. And if you're trying to get out of here with us and go to heaven, every day going to be the Sabbath. It'll have no end. Pastor, I have felt responsible as a theologian of a generation of new preachers, you see, to help people who are uncomfortable with